So you lived with Zen monks. You must have done a lot of soul searching, right? No, not really. In fact, most people are pretty surprised when they hear me say that I didn't, Zen or meditation practice is not about like soul searching, like trying to figure something out or like think through something. I sometimes say it's more like maybe soul observing. It's really just watching. It's watching your own thoughts and stories and patterns and what we may call mental formations. And in doing that, you tend to learn a lot more than trying to like think through things, right? Because it's like, how do you think your way out of thinking? Like if you're already confused about something or you can't figure something out, it's like, how is doing more of the same gonna like get you out of there, right? So, what a lot of these practices are not just the Zen tradition, but contemplative or meditative traditions more broadly. I love this quote by Swami Kripalu, who is actually a yogi from India. He says, self observation without judgment. That is really what we want. Self observation without judgment. That is the highest form of practice, of kind of meditation or inquiry. So that's what this video is about, is saying don't bother soul searching or trying to figure it out, or like, people think when I talk about meditation or Zen, they think of like self-reflection. And I would argue that you shouldn't really think of it that way as much as you should think about it as just watching, just observing. So let's explore that, right? So really two parts. I'll explain why we should think of it that way and why this idea of more like soul searching and figuring it out often doesn't really work so well. And then secondly, I'll explore, well, how do you actually do this? How do you practice this kind of self-observation or watching or witnessing? So, we all know that it's important to know yourself, right? I think Shakespeare said, above all else, to thine own self be true. So of course we want to like understand ourselves and our lives and kind of figure out, who am I and all this stuff. But there's an issue there. And that's that your thoughts and your emotions, your feelings, so to speak, are not actually reality. I'll say that again. Of course, they certainly exist and you experience them. I'm not saying we should deny or repress our thoughts or feelings, but your thoughts are thoughts about reality. Your feelings are feelings about reality. They are not reality itself. Thich Nhat Hanh, the famous Zen teacher, says, are you sure of your perceptions? This is a question we should ask ourselves again and again and again. And what we tend to find again is that you'll see, if you really observe, your thoughts are not absolute reality, nor are your feelings. I mean, really think about it. Have you ever had this experience where maybe someone's running late for something and you're feeling like, what the heck, man? Like you're 15 minutes late. Like, so the feelings and thoughts you have, you feel outraged, you feel insulted. And then your thoughts are things like, this person's always late. They're so irresponsible. They're such an idiot. Like, why does this happen to me, right? And then maybe they show up 20 minutes late and they have coffee or some sort of, stain all over their shirt. And they say, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Look, as I was leaving, I spilled all over myself and I got caught up and tried to scrub it off, but I couldn't. And then I started running late and then there was an accident on the way here. So I got stuck in traffic and I'm so sorry. And as you hear that there was a car accident and you hear that, or you see that they have this stain on your shirt, all of a sudden those thoughts and feelings, right? What happens? They switch to kind of understanding and calmness, and then your thoughts go to, oh, okay, this is actually reasonable. So what you'll notice there is nothing in reality actually changed. The only thing that changed was within you. Tony DeMello, another one of my favorite spiritual teachers, says, when it rains on your parade, who is upset? You or the rain? So these thoughts and feelings exist inside us. And when we try to kind of figure them out, oftentimes what happens is we're sort of like participating in it. And a lot of these thoughts, again, are full of like delusions and assumptions and biases. And this is especially true for these thoughts and stories we tell ourselves that have any emotional element. You think about, a personal relationship or kind of conflict you've had there, or even your political views, right? There's so much conditioning and irrationality and emotional reasoning and even just distorted perceptions and assumptions, kind of like in that story of your friend being late that I just gave you, that more thinking and more figuring it out probably isn't going to work too well. And so what we're talking about here, we're starting to shift when we say from quit soul searching and just watch, is creating a little bit of separation, which can be quite powerful. And when I say separation, it really means learning to identify with the container rather than the contents. You see this thinking through it and trying to figure it out and who am I? You're identifying and you're participating with the contents, the thoughts themselves, the feelings themselves, the stories and memories and ideas themselves. But you are not any of those things. Those things exist within you. You are the container. You are the one witnessing or experiencing these thoughts and emotions and all of these, again, mental phenomenon and perceptions. So what we're trying to do here is, again, not that these don't exist, we don't acknowledge them, but you start to step back, take the backward step, as it's sometimes called in Zen practice, and you're just witnessing all of these different things, and you're just watching. You're just observing. And it's from that seat of greater awareness, oftentimes, that clarity emerges. So to recap some of what we just shared there, if you're staying with me, is that when we try to just figure it out and soul search, and we're really kind of participating and creating this web of narratives and ideas and stories and memories, most of which, regardless of how rational you think you are as a human being, a lot of it's distorted by your perceptions, your emotions and feelings and other kind of cognitive biases. And so what we tend to find is that you can't kind of think your way out of a thinking problem, right? You can't figure your way out of confusion by generating more confusion. And so what I'm advocating here is that you step back and identify with this kind of deeper seat of awareness so that you can simply observe all of these things going on in your mind. And that is where this maybe sense of wisdom, although that word is a lot of the loaded word, but maybe this sense of clarity or understanding can come from. So how do we do this, right? I said at the beginning that self-observation without judgment is really the highest form of practice. And again, that's a quote from Swami Kripalu, the yogi. Well, if you want to try this, here is what I suggest, right? If you're trying to figure something out or think through something, or maybe even like on a deeper level, like, do that kind of soul searching. I don't even know what that means, right? That's another problem I have with it, is like, what would it mean to successfully soul search? Like, I figure out I don't even know. So instead of that, just spend maybe 20 minutes, maybe 40 minutes practicing this self-observation without judgment, which is cultivating awareness. So here's what you can do. And this is what meditation is, by the way, is you just sit and you try to observe what arises. As one of my teachers, Abbas Fu, said, that Zen is letting come and letting go, whatever comes and whatever goes. So instead of trying to figure it out or think through it or even process it, you're just going to sit there and just observe what comes in and not get attached to it, not participate in it. Just actually watch your own thinking, watch your own mind. Okay, so you're stepping back and just going. And here's what's going to happen 1,000,000 times or 1,000 times or 100 times, however long you do it. You're going to catch yourself wrapped up in the thing, right? You're going to say, okay, I'm trying to just watch my mind. And then 5 minutes later, you'll be like, oh my goodness, I'm planning my lunch. Or 5 minutes later, you're going to be like, oh, I'm like remembering this whole thing that happened to me when I was a kid. Or 5 minutes later, you're going to be thinking, well, like, I'm trying to figure out what I should do with my life. And maybe I should be an engineer. And maybe I should quit my job. And then you come back. So this process, again and again, of getting absorbed or getting caught up in the thought stream, and then stepping back out of it, that is meditation. That is cultivating this awareness and the capacity to just watch, to observe yourself. That's all it is. You can't stop the thought stream, right? You just can't do it. It's kind of like asking your mouth to stop producing saliva. It's impossible. Or you tell your heart to stop beating, which I don't recommend, right? You can't do it. The brain is there to create thoughts and create feelings and create stories and just keep kind of pulling all those things out. So it's not about stopping it. It's just stepping back and learning to watch it. Observe it. Observe your thoughts and question even where they come from and why they're there, and even notice some of the distortions maybe and the biases and the misperceptions and emotional reason and all of these kind of ridiculous things that our minds tend to do, assuming the worst and assuming we know everything. You're just watching all that, and you may even start to kind of laugh at it as you do more of this practice. And my hunch is if you do more of that, you just observe 20 minutes every morning, maybe 40 minutes. Maybe you try an at-home retreat, which I have a video on if you check out my channel. You just spend some time doing that. You're going to get far greater clarity than if you were just trying to, soul search and figure it out and self-reflect. Okay, so that is your assignment. I hope you'll practice it. Like I said, you're just sitting, observing. When the mind gets caught up and you lose track of it, you bring your awareness or your attention back to the present, and you just observe what's going on in here inside your field of mental awareness. And I think as you do this, what you'll realize is that thoughts are not reality. Okay, like I said, feelings are not reality. Thoughts are thoughts and feelings are feelings. And kind of insight or clarity is not to be found within your thinking. It's beyond your thinking. So I hope you found this video helpful. Drop down below. Let me know how it goes. Here's a video that YouTube suggests you'll like. Again, this one is on a at-home meditation retreat, which can be quite powerful. On this channel, I offer insights and practices and tools from both the art and the science of happiness to help you be at your best in work and, of course, in life. So this has been Jackson Kirchis. I thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.